Good morning to all students. First of all, I need to wish you Happy Doctors Day. Today's topic is chemistry of carbohydrates. It is a revision class. Already we are completed this carbohydrate chemistry class. Only important points you can remember. I will tell you. So today's topic is chemistry of carbohydrates. Simply, what is the definition? Carbohydrates are polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone groups. Polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketones. Why it is called polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketone? So here in the structure, you can see hydroxyl groups. There are so many hydroxyl groups. It is here in this structure, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hydroxyl groups are present. So that's why it is called polyhydroxy. Ketones or aldose. So here aldose sugar and ketone sugars, these are differentiated. That is mainly depending on double bond O. Okay, carbonyl carbon, that is either present at the first carbon atom or second carbon atom. If it is present in the first carbon atom, these are called aldose sugar. Okay, aldose sugar. In the ketone sugar, this double bond O that is present at the second carbon atom. So molecular formula C6H12O6. For the identification of spotters, we have this glucose structure. Okay. What are the different functions of the carbohydrates? We know that already. So carbohydrate is the main source of the energy. So we are getting energy from the glucose. Okay. So glucose, whenever mostly that is produced from the external sources. So whenever we are taking external sources, glucose that is enters into the bloodstream, then that reaches to the organs. There different metabolic reactions that is participated, then produces different intermediate products. Okay, those are all important to producing energy. So here this is the first carbohydrate function. Next one is intermediate of metabolism. So during the metabolic reactions, those are produces different intermediates of the carbohydrate metabolism. Those are also participated in different reactions. For example, from the glycolysis, that is producing glucose 6-phosphate. So here that glucose 6-phosphate that is again participated in HMP shunt. So here glucose 6-phosphate that is the intermediate that is participated in glycolysis, as well as some amount of the glucose 6-phosphate that is participated in HMP shunt also. Okay, so this is second function. Next one is storage form of energy. So whatever glucose that is metabolized, then that is produces glycogen. So glycogen that is stored in muscle as well as in the liver. So whenever during the fasting, whenever body require energy, we are not getting during the fasting external sources. So humans mostly depending on external sources for getting energy from the glucose. But during the fasting, we are not taking any food. So whatever glycogen that is stored in our muscle and liver, that glycogen that is produces glucose for getting energy. So that storage form of energy that is mainly depending on the glycogen. Next one is structural components. So in that cell structure, we know that cell lipid bilayer membrane. So in the on that lipid bilayer membrane, that is mainly binds with the this what is that on that lipid bilayer membrane, what is that called? Lipid bilayer membrane that is mainly binds with the I'm not getting exactly. I will tell you structural components. I will discuss structural components later. First of all, you can see fibrous tissue that is mainly two types. One is digestible, one is indigestible. So digestible fibers, those are mainly participated in different digestion processes. mainly that reduces constipation problems. Indigestible fibers, for example, cotton, cellulose that is not digestible by human because lack of some enzymes. So these are the fibers. Next one is constituents of the nucleotides. Constituents of the nucleotides. So we know that DNA and RNA. So in on that structures you can see that is having a main carbohydrate component is ribose sugar. So ribose sugar, it is a pentose sugar. So ribose sugar, that is mainly component of the DNA and RNA structure. Okay. Next one is detoxification. Detoxification is the process that eliminates toxic components from the body. So here different carbohydrate components are that eliminates these toxic components from the body, our body. Okay. So here structural components are glycolipids and glycoproteins. So carbohydrates are binds with the either lipid moiety or protein moiety. So if it is binds with the lipid, that is called glycolipid. If it is binds with the protein, that is called glycoprotein. Those are having different functions. So these are all different functions of the carbohydrates. Okay. Next one is classification of carbohydrates. So classification, that is 4 classes. One is monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharide, and polysaccharide. In these monosaccharides these are not having any branches. These are single molecules. Okay, and these are not bind with the any other molecules. So here monosaccharide examples are glucose, fructose, galactose, mannose. There are some other examples. I will show you in the next slides. So these are single molecules. So this is the example, glucose. It is not binds with the any other molecules. Next one is disaccharides. Disaccharides are 2 monosaccharides combined together that produces disaccharides. For example, here you can see maltose. It is one glucose molecule, another glucose molecule that produces maltose. So different examples are sucrose, lactose, and maltose. These are disaccharides. Next one is oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides are having 3 to 10 sugar molecules combined together. 3 to 10 sugar molecules. So this is the structural formula oligosaccharides. It is having 5 sugar molecules. Okay. So for the examples, oligosaccharides, raffinose and stachyose. Like that, polysaccharides are very important functions we are having in the human bodies. Okay. Polysaccharides are, these are having 10 or more sugar molecules. 10 or more sugar molecules. So here examples are starch, glycogen, cellulose. There are some other examples also. Polysaccharides again subdivided into homopolysaccharides and heteropolysaccharides. I will tell you in that polysaccharide explanation. Okay. So this is the structural formula polysaccharide. It is having so many more than 10 monosaccharide units that is combined together that produces polysaccharides. So this is about classification. So monosaccharides. First one is monosaccharides. So monosaccharides are not having any branches, but here it is having a carbohydrate chain, carbon chain. Okay. So here, depending on carbon atoms, that is again subclassified into categories. So here, if it is having 3 carbon atoms, basically that is having 3 carbon atoms. So that is called trioses. Okay. 4 carbon atoms, if it is contained, tetroses, pentose sugars, hexose sugars, heptose sugars. So minimum monosaccharides are having 3 carbon atoms. Maximum those are having 7 carbon atoms. Okay. So different examples you can see. So glyceraldehyde, it is having 3 carbon atoms. So next one is 4 carbon atoms examples, erythrose, threose. Okay. Next one is 5 carbon atom, ribose, arabinose, xylose. in these ribose is a important monosaccharide that is important for the um, humans. It is mainly present at the DNA and RNA structures. Next one is 6 carbon atoms. 6 carbon atoms, the most important 6 carbon atom monosaccharides are glucose, mannose, and galactose. So these are all important monosaccharides for the human bodies. Next one is 7 carbon atoms. Here I am not mentioned that example 7 carbon atoms. So you know already in the HMP pathway that is produces 7 7 hydroxy pseudoheptulose 7 phosphate. You know that in the HMP pathway that is produces pseudoheptulose 7 phosphate. That is mainly that is produced in the HMP pathway. So in that properties, the most important properties you have to remember 2 properties. One is epimers, one is mutarotation. These 2 are very important for 2 marks. Okay, epimers and mutarotation. So here first thing we will discuss about epimers. Epimers are the isomers. Isomers means here the examples for the epimers, glucose epimer is mannose, and also glucose epimer is galactose. Okay, mannose, galactose are epimers of the glucose. So here these are isomers of the glucose. Why we are saying isomer? Isomer means same. That means here it is having a same structural formula. Here C6H12O6. These are having a same structural formula, but the arrangement of the OH group only variation that is present. That is also particularly only at the 1 carbon atom. Okay, so here glucose normal structure, it is having a 6 carbon ring. Okay, 3 OH groups that is present at the right side, 1 OH group that is present at the left side. So it is a dextrose sugar, D-glucose. So in that structural formula, there is a small variation either in the 2nd carbon atom or 4th carbon atom. So that variation is this OH groups, whatever OH group that is present at the right side, that is shifted to the left side. Okay. So here at the 2nd carbon atom, that OH group present at the right side in the D-glucose, that is shifted to left side. So here this is called epimer of this is called mannose, epimer of the glucose. Only variation that is present at the 2nd carbon atom, OH group that is shifted to the left side. Okay, like that. Same example, galactose. Here that variation is only present at the 4th carbon atom, OH group that is shifted to the left side at the 4th carbon atom. So what are the epimers of the glucose? Mannose and galactose. For the mannose, only variation in the 2nd carbon atom, and for the galactose, variation at the 4th carbon atom. Okay, so here epimerization reaction in our humans, that is requiring an enzyme. Okay, that enzyme is called epimerase. Epimerase is the enzyme that is required for the interconversion or formation of the epimers. Okay, here another example, ribulose that is converted to xylulose. Ribulose that is converted to xylulose in the presence of the enzyme epimerase. So here that structural variation that is present at 3rd carbon atom. So here 3rd carbon atom, that OH group that is present at the left side, that is shifted to the right side. Okay, so this is very important for 2 marks question. Like that, mutarotation is also very important for 2 marks. So mutarotation means here D-glucose, you know that. So that D-glucose, that is either alpha D-glucose or beta D-glucose. So that alpha D glucose or beta D glucose, that is name given by the depending on hydroxyl group present at the first carbon atom. Hydroxyl group, OH group, that is present at the first carbon atom. So here, if the hydroxyl group that is present at the right side, or OH group in this structure, you can see that is present at the right side. So it is a beta D glucopyranose. Okay, alpha D glucopyranose, that OH group that is present at the left side. OH group that is present at the left side. So during the Myotar rotation, what happened? This interconversion of the alpha and the beta OH groups, interconversion of the OH groups, either right or left shifting, that is takes place. That means interconversion of the alpha D glucose to beta D glucose, or beta D glucose to alpha D glucose. So here that interconversion, that is mainly depending on the degree of rotation of the molecule. So this is very important, you have to remember. So normally D glucose that is having plus 52.7 degree rotation, plus 52.7 degree rotation. So when it is converted to beta D glucose, that degree of rotation is plus 19 degrees. Okay. For alpha D glucose, that is having degree of rotation plus 113 degrees rotation. So simply, Myotar rotation is a interconversion of the alpha and beta forms of the D glucose. Okay. Here another example, you can see Myotar rotation. Here beta lactose that is having hydroxyl group at the right side. So during the Myotar rotation, what happened? This OH group that is shifted to the left side. So it is a alpha lactose. Beta lactose that is converted to alpha lactose. This reaction is called Myotar rotation. So these two are important for 2 marks. Next one is disaccharides. So disaccharides, we know that these are having 2 monosaccharides combined together to produce disaccharide. Okay, 2 monosaccharides combined together produces disaccharides. The most important examples are maltose, lactose, and sucrose. These 3 are most important examples for the disaccharides. Okay, maltose, lactose, and sucrose. So here, maltose and lactose are called reducing sugars. Okay, sucrose is called non-reducing sugar. This is also important point we have to remember. Sucrose is non-reducing sugar, maltose and lactose reducing sugars. Why it is non-reducing? Why these 2 are reducing? I will explain you in the next slides. So here you can see structural formula. Maltose and lactose. Okay, structures. These are maltose is forms alpha 1,4 bond. Alpha 1,4 bond. Here lactose is producing alpha 1,4 bond. Alpha 1,4 bond. Okay, but so here at the first carbon atom of the glucose molecules, first carbon atom of the glucose molecules, it is having free hydroxyl group. It is having free hydroxyl group. So it is not participated in any bond formation reactions. It is not binding with any other molecules. So in the maltose and in the lactose, at the first carbon atom of the glucose, these are having a free hydroxyl groups, OH groups. But in the sucrose, there is no free hydroxyl groups, because that the first carbon atom of the glucose and the second carbon atom of the fructose, those 2 are participated in the bond formation. So here at the second carbon atom, there is no free hydroxyl group. There is no free hydroxyl group. That is a hydroxyl group that's participated in the formation of the glycosidic bond. So here there is no free hydroxyl group. So here it is a non-reducing sugar. It is a non-reducing sugar. So these 2 are maltose and lactose are called reducing sugars. Okay. First one is maltose. So it is a simply called malt sugar. Okay. So what it is contained? one glucose molecules that is combining with the another glucose molecule. One glucose molecules combined with the another glucose molecules with the alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkase. Alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkase. Okay. So here, how it is formed, detailed structural formula, how it is produced, how it is breakdown, that is takes place. So for the hydrolysis, hydrolysis means combined. So two hydroxyl groups at the glucose molecules that removes water molecules and that combine together that produces maltose. So during the hydrolysis reaction, hydrolysis means breakdown. During the hydrolysis reaction, that breaks the bond and that produces water molecules, and then that separates two glucose molecules. Okay. So here we already know that it is a reducing sugar. Why it is reducing sugar? It is having a first carbon atom of the glucose molecule. It is having free hydroxyl group. It is having free hydroxyl group. So it is a reducing sugar. Okay. So it shows a mutar rotation. So what we have discussed about mutar rotation, interconversion of the alpha and beta molecule. So here it is a alpha, it is a beta maltose. It is a beta maltose. So beta maltose, there is a chance to interconvert it to the alpha maltose. Okay, interconverted to the alpha maltose. That means this OH group that shifted to the left side. Okay, so that means it is showing that mutar rotation. Okay. Digestion of the maltose. So maltose mainly we are getting from the starch. So starch is a polysaccharide. Starch is a polysaccharide. From the polysaccharides we are getting disaccharide, maltose. Okay. So starch digestion that is takes place in the mouth or that is require an enzyme that is called pancreatic amylase. Pancreatic amylase that is required digestion of the starch as well as maltose. Finally, maltose that is breakdown to the two glucose molecules. So in our body, for the digestion of the maltose, that is required another enzyme called maltase. Another enzyme that is called maltase. So this is the process of digestion. Next one is lactose. Lactose simply it is called milk sugar. Lactose it is a simply milk sugar. Okay. Maltose it is showing, it is also showing it is a reducing sugar, and also it shows a mutar rotation. Reducing sugar, mutar rotation. So reducing sugar, how it is reduces lactose breakdown, how it is takes place in the present. It is mainly require two enzymes. What is that? Galactosidase or lactase. Two enzymes that is required for the breakdown of lactose. Okay, then that produces galactose and glucose. Galactose and glucose, two monosaccharides. So when these two monosaccharides, galactose and glucose combine together, that produces lactose. Okay, that produces lactose. So here there are some abnormality we have to remember. That is condition is called lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance. That is called undigestion of the lactose. Undigestion of the lactose due to lack of enzyme. Due to lack of enzyme. What is that enzyme? Galactosidase or lactase. Lack of these enzymes. That digestion of the lactose that is not taking place. When there is a lack of these enzymes, these lactose that enters into the intestinal tract, then that is contaminated with the intestinal bacteria, and then bacterial fermentation that produces a large quantity of the carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and irritating organic acids. Okay, irritating organic acid that gives a bad smell to the gas. Okay. So when there is no digestion of the lactose, there is only symptom that is painful digestive upset This is especially seen in the children, especially seen in the children. Next one is sucrose. Sucrose, we know that what are the examples. The very important thing you have to remember, they will ask you in the practical Viva session, what are the sources of sucrose? What are the sources of fructose? We have to remember. Okay. So here, sucrose sources are cane sugar or table sugar. Cane sugar or table sugar. So, what is the structure of sucrose? What it is contained? One is glucose molecule, one is fructose molecules. One glucose molecule that is combining with the fructose molecule with the bond alpha 1 to glycosidic linkage. Alpha 1 to glycosidic linkage. So here it is quite opposite to the other disaccharides, maltose and lactose. So maltose and lactose, those are showing, those are reducing sugar and showing mutar-rotation. But here sucrose, it is a non-reducing sugar. Why it is that the second carbon atom of the fructose, it is not having any free hydroxyl group, OH group that is participated in the formation of the bond. So that's why it is non-reducing sugar. Okay, it does not show mutar-rotation. So in that sucrose, it is not having alpha sucrose or beta sucrose. Okay, it is a sucrose molecule. So digestion of the sucrose, how it is takes place when we are taking a table sugar or sugar sources, immediately that enters into the intestine. There, that is having a enzyme sucrase. So sucrase is the enzyme that breaks the sucrose molecule into the glucose and the fructose molecules. Okay. So here, sucrose, the most important point. Sucrose is called invert sugar. Sucrose is called invert sugar. Why it is called invert sugar? Actually, sucrose is a dextrorotatory. Sucrose is a dextrorotatory. Then after digestion or acid hydrolysis, sucrose splits into the glucose and fructose. But here it is a levorotatory. It is a levorotatory. Sucrose molecules, that is dextrorotatory. On hydrolysis, whatever products are producing, that is levorotatory. So dextrorotatory, that is converted to the levorotatory. This is mostly due to more fructose present in that acid hydrolysis solution. So here dextrorotatory, that is converted to levorotatory. So that's why it is called sucrose is a invert sugar. Sucrose is a invert sugar. So in that invert sugar solution, what it is contained? Levorotatory, that is actually sucrose, dextrorotatory, that degree of rotation is plus 66.5 degree of the rotation. Then after conversion of the levorotatory, that is having minus 28.2 degree rotation, minus 28.2 degree rotation. So it is mainly due to fructose. It is mainly due to fructose. So it is the cause of the production of the levorotatory sucrose solution. Okay. So next one is polysaccharides. So polysaccharides are, these are having more than 10 carbohydrates, more than 10 carbohydrates repeated units combined together. So these are mainly branched polysaccharides, unbranched polysaccharides, branched polysaccharides and unbranched polysaccharides. So polysaccharides mainly divided into two categories: homopolysaccharides, heteropolysaccharides. Homopolysaccharides and heteropolysaccharides. So homopolysaccharides. So these polysaccharides are very important question for short answers. Okay, very 5 marks question or 4 marks question. Polysaccharides. Whether sometimes they will ask you about heteropolysaccharides, or sometimes asked about homopolysaccharides. Sometimes they will ask you both polysaccharides. So at that time, polysaccharides, you have to mention both the homopolysaccharide and also heteropolysaccharide. So first one is homopolysaccharide. Homopolysaccharides means these are having single repeated monosaccharides. Single repeated monosaccharides. So examples are glycogen, starch, cellulose, inulin, chitins. Okay, glycogen, starch, cellulose, inulin, and the chitins. These are examples for the homopolysaccharides. First one is starch. Starch is a homopolysaccharide. Okay, these are having repeated D-glucose units. Repeated more than 10 glucose repeated units are present in the starch molecule. Okay, so this is the structure of starch. Okay, so here it is having blue color line and more red color lines. So that means starch is mainly contain two contents. What are those? One is amylose, one is amylopectin. Amylose and amylopectin. So starch is made by the amylose and the amylopectin. So here amylose is a single line, blue color line, single line. It is not having any branch. So it is a straight line. Amylopectins are having different clubbed lines. Those are mixed amylopectin. So what is the difference between amylose and amylopectin? So here you can see this is the amylose structure. This is the amylopectin structure. So what is the difference between amylose and amylopectin? So amylose is having a straight chain repeated monosaccharide glucose units. But here it is having a branched chain repeated glucose units. It is branched chain. Okay. So here it is having a single bond. What type of bond it is? Alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. It is having alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. But in the amylopectin, it is having two bonds. One is alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. One is alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond, branched bond. Okay. So it is having a single bond. It is amylopectin is having a double bond. So amylose, due to single bond, it is easily digestible or breakable. Okay, amylopectin, due to double bond, it is double bond means it is a strong bond, so it is unbreakable or indigestible. Okay, amylopectin is unbreakable or indigestible due to double bond. What is that bond? Alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond, alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. Digestion of the starch already we discussed. Starch digestion, how it is takes place. The starch, it is a polysaccharide. Starch digestion, that is starts at the mouth inside, that having a salivary amylase digestion that is takes place. Then that converted to the maltose. Maltose is a disaccharide. Okay, two glucose units that is present, disaccharide. Then that maltose in the intestine that is mixed with the pancreatic amylase. Then that maltose that breaks down to the monosaccharide. Okay, in the presence of the enzyme maltase, that maltose that is remaining breakdown to the two glucose molecules. This is the breakdown of the starch, digestion of the starch. Next one is glycogen. So whatever glucose that is produces in our body or getting from the external sources, that more glucose molecules combine together, then that produces glucose molecule. So these glucose molecules mostly that is enters into the blood, then that reach to the muscle and the liver. So here that most of the glycogen that is stored in the liver as well as in the muscle tissues. Okay. So whenever our body require energy, most of the energy we are getting from the glycogen. So during the fasting, so we are not getting any sources. We are not taking any sources. So our body require energy. So at that time, that breakdown of the glycogen that is takes place. So that glycogen breakdown that is takes place in the brain, in the liver as well as in the muscle. Then that glycogen that enters into the blood, blood, then that converted to the glucose, that released into the glucose, that metabolized and produces energy. Okay, that is about glycogen. So here glycogen structure, it is having 6,000 to 25,000 repeated units. Okay, so here it is also having a alpha 1,4 or alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. So it is having a double bond, alpha 1 straight chain and alpha 1,6, that is branched chain. Okay, this is about glycogen. Cellulose, there is no use of cellulose in our body. Okay, so it is insoluble in water. Cellulose, we are not digestible by humans. Why? Because in the humans, for the digestion of cellulose, that is required two enzymes, cellulobase and cellulase. So lack of these two enzymes in the humans, cellulose, that is not digestible in the humans. So these are the examples: cotton, wood, some other products. Next one is inulin. So inulin, already you know that one experiment when we are discussing about inulin clearance test. Inulin clearance test, when we are discussing in the kidney function test. In the kidney function test, we are discussing about inulin clearance test. Okay, so inulin is a homopolysaccharide. Inulin is the homopolysaccharide. It is also called a fructans. Why it is called fructans? At the terminating molecule that is having a fructose. Terminating molecule that is having a fructose. So in the inulin, it is having a more fructose. Inulin is having a more fructose and along with one molecule of the glucose. Along with one molecule of the glucose. That's why it is called fructans. Okay. So here it is having a alpha 1 to glycosidic linkage. Glucose and fructose combined together by alpha 1 to glycosidic linkage. So examples for the inulin, the most important example is, these are all inulin sources. Chicory roots are having more inulin that is present. Okay. So in the kidney function test, we discussed about inulin clearance test. Chitins, that is not that much of important. These are mostly present in the arthropod. This is also somewhere that is not digestible by humans. Next one is heteropolysaccharides. Next one is heteropolysaccharides. Hetero means opposite. So homo means same glucose molecules are present in the homopolysaccharides. But in the heteropolysaccharides, those are having two different kind of sugar molecules. Okay, mostly those are amino sugars and uranic acid. Those are combined by amino sugars and uranic acid. So examples for the amino sugars are N-acetyl glucosamine, N-acetyl galactosamine, amino sugars. For the uranic acid, examples are glucuronic acid or its 5 epimers. What are those? Hydronic acid. Okay. So polysaccharides are having amino sugars and uranic acid. So heteropolysaccharides, those are also called mucopolysaccharides. So mucopolysaccharides and also called glycosaminoglycans. Okay, so most of the glycosaminoglycans, those are present at the extracellular membrane. Those are all mostly present at the extracellular membrane. So here you can see this image, extracellular membrane. So glycoprotein and glycolipids, especially, these are having a special branches. So here it is one thread-like structure. You can say this is the single thread. This single thread. It is the single thread. So it is having a different branches of the glycosaminoglycans in the extracellular fluid. What are those? You can see here, keratin sulfate is present, chondroitin sulfate is present. These are binds with the core protein. So in depth, you can see in that core protein, again that is having a sub branch. Okay, in that sub branch that is having main is chondroitin sulfate, and the subgroup again that is having keraton sulfate. Okay, I will show you. So the main functions of the glycosaminoglycans are these are mostly like a gel-like substances. These are like a gel-like substances. These are mostly present in the connective tissues, synovial fluid joints, and the vitreous humor of the eye. So especially glycosaminoglycans are present in these places. Okay. Classification of the glycosaminoglycans. So in that classification, the most important glycosaminoglycans are 5 types. What are those? Hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate, keraton sulfate, dermaton sulfate, heparin and heparon sulfate. Each thing we will discuss. First one is hyaluronic acid. So these polysaccharides are heteropolysaccharides are two disaccharides combined together. Okay. So hyaluronic acid, it is not required. So here two disaccharides combined together. Okay. So each monosaccharide that is having bond together alpha 1,3 glycosidic linkage. Okay, but two disaccharides combined together by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So it is having two bonds. One is alpha 1,3 glycosidic linkage. Another one is alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So most of the polysaccharides, heteropolysaccharides, especially most of the heteropolysaccharides are having sulfate groups. But in the hyaluronic acid, it is not having any sulfate group. It is a sulfate-free mucopolysaccharide. It is not having any sulfate group in its structure. Okay. So biomedical importance. Actually, it is a gel-like substance. So here, in this image, you can see in the extracellular membrane. It is having a layer. Okay, it is having a layer. It is containing hyaluronic acid. It is protected by hyaluronic acid. So when bacteria that is attacking to the human cells, that bacteria that releases hyaluronidase enzyme. Okay, bacteria when it is released into the humans, bacteria that releases hyaluronidase enzyme. So when the hyaluronidase enzyme that is released by the bacteria, that easily break down the layer of the hyaluronic acid. So when there is a breakdown of the hyaluronic acid layer, that easily attacks the bacteria to the humans. So it is hyaluronic acid main function is it protects the infections. Okay, it protects from the infections. Okay, like that. Here also another example. Okay, clot formation. Another function of the hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronidase is a enzyme. It is present in the semen. So here around the ovum that is protected by the hyaluronic acid. So ovum that is surrounded by the ovary, that is gives a protection. So hyaluronic acid, most of the hyaluronic acid that is present around the ovum. So when the sperm is reaches near to the ovary, that sperm cells that releases hyaluronidase enzyme. So that hyaluronidase enzyme that breaks the hyaluronic acid surrounded to the ovary. So when the hyaluronidase that is reached to the hyaluronic acid, that breaks the hyaluronic acid layer around the ovary. So when there is a breakage of the hyaluronic acid, that sperm cell is easily penetrated into the ovary. So fertilization that is taking place. Fertilization that is taking place. So this is another example. Next one is, next classification is chondroitin sulfate. Chondroitin sulfate. So here chondroitin sulfate, it is especially present in the bones and teeth. Bones and teeth, cartilages. So chondroitin sulfate, it is having alpha 1,3 glycosidic bond. Alpha 1,3 glycosidic bond. So here chondroitin sulfate is two types. That is mainly depending on sulfur binding. So whether that sulfur is binds at the 4th carbon atom or at the 6th carbon atom. So depending on sulfur binding side, chondroitin sulfate, that is again subdivided into two groups: chondroitin 4 sulfate, chondroitin 6 sulfate. So it is mostly present at the connective tissues like cartilages, bones, dentase. So these are at these places most of the chondroitin sulfate that is present. Next one is keratin sulfate. Keratin sulfate. So keratin sulfate, it is having a beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So it is linked together D-galactose, N-acetyl glucosamine. N-acetyl glucosamine 6 sulfate. Here sulfur group that is present at the 6th carbon atom. So D-galactose, that is combined together by N-acetyl glucosamine 6 sulfate with the glycosidic bond beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So it is keratin sulfate. So here we have to remember that here keratin sulfate, it is not having a uranic acid. It is not having a uranic acid. Both are glucose molecules, both are carbohydrate molecules only, galactose and glucosamine. So it is not having uranic acid. So keratin sulfate, especially it is present at cartilages, bones, cornea, as well as hair, nails, horn. So black color, hair, nails, mostly present keratin. Next one is dermaton sulfate. In that name itself, they are mentioned, it is mostly present in the derma, skin. Okay, what it is contained? L-iodinic acid that is combined together by N-acetyl galactosamine 4 sulfate. N-acetyl galactosamine 4 sulfate. So that is combined together by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Okay. So here dermaton sulfate, it is mostly present in the walls of the blood vessels, next heart valves and the skin. So these are the mostly present in these spots, dermaton sulfate. Next one is heparin or heparin sulfate. So heparin, we know that it is an anticoagulant that is present in the blood. It is acts as a anticoagulant. Anticoagulant means it is always protects the blood for the from the formation of the clot. Okay. So it is having L-iodinate 2 sulfate that is combined by N-sulfur glucosamine 6 sulfate. So sulfur that is mostly present at the 6th carbon atom. Okay. So here heparin is having a highest amount of sulfate groups. Heparin is having highest amount of sulfate group. Okay. Sulfur groups. So heparin, that normal function, heparin that is mainly actively reacting with the antithrombin 3. Okay. So antithrombin 3, that the main function is that converted to thrombin. Thrombin is the factor 2. Okay. Thrombin is the factor 2. So here thrombin function is it converts fibrinogen to fibrin. Fibrin means clot. So when there is no availability of the heparin, that fibrin formation, more fibrin formation that is taking place. Okay, so heparin that is mostly present in the blood and also as well as in the liver, lung, spleen, thymus, skin, everywhere that is present heparin. Okay, so heparin is the intracellular component. Intracellular component. So with compared to other heteropolysaccharides, those are all present at the synovial fluid, cartilages, in the extracellular extracellular membrane. But here heparin that is mostly present in the intracellular component. It is mostly present intracellular component. Its main function is it is a natural anticoagulant. It is natural anticoagulant that is circulated in the blood. Circulated in the blood. So binding heparin to the plasma antithrombin 3 causes inhibition of the thrombin activity. So when the heparin that binds with the antithrombin 3, immediately that inhibit the conversion of the antithrombin 3 to the thrombin. So when it is inhibits, the thrombin availability that is reduced. So when the thrombin availability that is reduced, fibrinogen that is never converted to the fibrin without thrombin. Okay, this is the function of heparin. So at least in the examination, at least you can mention this flow chart already at the time of actual class. I mentioned this one. There are some students they wrote like this, and we are given full marks. I think 3.5, 4 marks we are given. So if you not remember each one explanation, at least you can write down this uh, this chart. Okay, hyaluronic acid, what is the composition, what is the distribution, where it is present, what it is function. At least 3 points from each glycosaminoglycan. Okay, at least 3 points you can mention. One is what is the structure, what it is content. Next, where it is present. Next, what it is function. At least you can write down this chart. So this is about the revision class. So from the carbohydrate chemistry, most of the questions that is mainly classification of the carbohydrates. First question. Next one is epimerase, epimer. That is the important question for 2 marks, epimer. Next one is mutar rotation. Mutar rotation, that is important question, mutar rotation. Next one is disaccharides. You know that disaccharide, maltose, lactose, and sucrose. What is the mutar rotation? What are the Wasserjohn structures? We already discussed what are those Wasserjohn structures. So you can mention everything about disaccharides. Sometimes they will ask you about polysaccharides, glycosamine. In that polysaccharides, if they are asking for polysaccharides, you have to mention about two types, hetero and homopolysaccharides. Sometimes they will ask you about glycosaminoglycans. So you have to mention about only glycosaminoglycans. Okay. So these are the questions you have to read. Okay. Thank you.